Welcome everybody to the presentation on democratizing development by Microsoft. My name is Bram Veenhof. I run a team of technical advisors that work a lot with software companies. So my team is very much high code. So we do kind of complex stuff, C, C++, C#, Java, that kind of stuff. And then Betty Block asked me to give a presentation on the vision of Microsoft on low and no code. So I had to kind of step back and think a little bit about what am I going to tell, and then what do I think that the vision of Microsoft on low and no code is. And when I was thinking about it and thinking about what is low code about and no code about, I went back to kind of the beginning of the company. So these two guys, they started the company in 1975. To the right, you probably recognize Bill Gates. On the left, it's Paul Allen. And they'd been playing around with computers, kind of the big computers, kind of the computers that filled an entire hallway. And of course, I mean, you're all here because you know Microsoft as the company that built Windows, the company that built Office, the company that had the mission to put a PC on every desk and in every home in a time when PCs were kind of the sizes of this room. So that was ridiculous. But it didn't start with that. I'm not sure how many of you know that, but it started with this machine. This was the Altair 880, and it was one of the first PCs that you could buy as a self-built kit from a magazine called Popular Electronics. And Paul Allen saw this in the Popular Electronics magazine, and he gave Bill Gates a call, and he said, "Bill, you have to drop out of school now. It's starting. If we want to be kind of the company of this PC revolution, we have to start working with PCs now, and this is the first one. This will be the tipping point." So Bill Gates dropped out of school and they started writing software for this machine, and it looked something like this. So this is a kind of assembly code. It's kind of the nastiest code that you can write. I mean, so I was looking these things up to prepare this presentation, and so every time I was Googling for, or binging, of course, for, but if I was Googling for assembly code, kind of the first 2 pages of the search results were, don't write assembly code. If you're writing assembly code, you're doing it wrong. There's no reason why you should be writing assembly code. But they needed to assembly code because they needed to write something, and their first product was actually the basic interpreter for the Altair 880. Hello? I'm not friends with this clicker. Yes. So the basic interpreter for the Altair 880. And how many of you have ever written a basic program? Well, that's a lot of them. And I was thinking, so that was the first product. So they sold it before they had it. So they went to Altair and said, well, we will be the one that built your Altair basic interpreter, and they sold it. And then they really had to go down and code for weeks and weeks and weeks, really quickly, and going through the nights to get it done. But the funny thing I thought when I was kind of thinking about this is that if you think about the goals of the basic language, it has a lot to do with low code, no code. Because the goals of the basic language, kind of the design principle for it, is that it has to be understandable for non-technical people. So the first product of Microsoft was a programming language that's understandable for non-technical people. The language had to look friendly, so you had to be able to not be kind of scared or scared by the language. It had to enable results fast. And if you compare this to, there's some code in there, but kind of the basic language has the kind of these easy for while loops, etc. I mean, this is really hard to do that in. It had to enable results fast, and the time to solution had to be minimal. And it could even, in that time it was revolutionary, but they had to trade off between time to solution and processor time. They would choose the time to solution, so you had to be really fast. So that was my first thought when I thought about Microsoft and low-code, that our company was basically founded on a program for low-code. And I think that if you look through the history of Microsoft and the way that we've always been building software products, it's always been to enable as many people as possible to get to the value that the computer can get you. So this was 1975. They founded the company. So we forward to 1985 when we launched a program for the Mac first. And this program would become the kind of the fiercest competitor to any business app. So if you're in the business application software, kind of your biggest competitor and kind of the one that you really have to fight first is this application. So in 1985 we launched it for Mac. In 1987 it came for Windows. It came first to Mac because Windows did not exist at the time. And then it grew and grew, and kind of by the mid-90s it was the application. And of course it's Excel. Because Excel is, I think, the most used low-code application. I mean, if you're looking at solving any business problem, and if you're looking in companies that are trying to solve business problems, half the time Excel is being used for that and can be used for anything. So I mean, I've seen Excel being used for calendar applications, for project management applications, for purchase order applications, for expense reports, for anything. Any business problem can be solved. Most of them can be solved by Excel. And also, kind of, how many of you would call yourself a programmer? Well, that's still kind of 10 people. How many of you have written a function in Excel? So, I mean, I can kind of make my point. So that was in the mid-90s, and kind of we were still very much in the kind of single PC world for kind of easy development. And of course, I mean, Access and Excel and Access have been kind of the platform that a lot of business users used for creating quick applications. Kind of, well, if it's too complex for Excel, you can do it in Access, and then you go buy some commercial software. But then the time changed again, and then we forward another 15 years or so to 2014 when Satya Nadella, this guy, was appointed the third CEO of the company, and by this time the kind of the market context had totally changed. So the PC is becoming less relevant. Cloud and mobile computing is kind of it's all there is. We just had the unfortunate episode with the Nokia acquisition, so we were kind of missing the mobile game, and then they put Satya in control. And the first years of being the CEO of Microsoft, Satya spent a lot of time kind of changing the culture from a culture of know-it-alls to a current culture of learn-it-alls, from a kind of from a genius culture to a kind of a curious culture, and with that new culture came a new mission, and that mission is at the moment our mission is to empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. Of course, by using what defines us, and that's technology. So to make every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more, we need to make sure that everybody has access to technology. So you have to make sure that you can get to your kind of your cloud computing, and you can use your kind of your service across devices that can be kind of on mobile or on your PC, or that can be kind of can be anywhere. And also, we have to make it accessible for people that like the Forrester analyst said, do not have a comp sci, I really like that acronym, computer science background. So kind of making it accessible for everyone. And I think that's where the current low-code, no-code wave is really coming from. So in this context that has really changed, where the PC was less interesting, we see that we are kind of now in this market context of digital transformation, where, like Chris is saying, software is eating the world. And we're seeing that is especially true in the kind of these four areas. So we see that there is a lot of changing going on in how companies are engaging with customers because of the way that we can now talk to customers and we can track customers and we know where we are, and that kind of has a good side to it because we can serve you better and we can kind of serve you across multiple channels, and also it has a downside to it. I mean, think about the Facebook analytics. I can't catch the name. Cambridge Analytics, thank you very much. Thing. So, but there's a lot of kind of different way how we are engaging customers. And kind of the second big area is how we optimize operations. So by being able to kind of be very kind of last minute, kind of just-on-time delivery, etc. I mean, I'm still kind of amazed when I order something at Coolblue in the morning and I get it at the same afternoon. I mean, that's something that really was not imaginable 5 or 6 years ago. And it's all being made possible by software and by these kind of these platforms that are ubiquitous and that are everywhere. Also with changing products, I mean, these products becoming more and more software driven, or there's more software in it. I mean, in your house only, I mean, you'll probably have some way or form to switch on and off your lights using software and do it dimmer, like some Hue gadget, or my heating is arranged so that I can connect to that. And these products are becoming more and more software based. And last but not least, we're empowering, well, it says employees, but it's empowering everybody basically to have access to the data at any point in time, kind of on any device, the right data, the data that is DRM'd, and so that you don't have more data than you should have. So that's this digital transformation. And this digital transformation creates what we call the digital feedback loop. And I need to check how many clicks I have here. Well, let's do it with this one. And with this digital transformation, all these processes, on all these 4 areas, are generating data and insights. And what we want as business users is we want to be able to act on those business insights. And we want to be able to have a process trigger another process. We want to be able to kind of add something in there. And that's why kind of this data and intelligence, kind of this ubiquitous cloud computing connects with the citizen developer, because the IT department will not know what to act on, what process to see, what the customer really asks. So that's why what we're seeing is that because of these digital transformation areas, generating all this data, generating these triggers, requiring us to build new things, that these low-code, no-code platforms are much more complex than they used to be. Because think about it, the basic platform that we started with was all about one machine. I mean, in Access, you're still kind of only acting on or manipulating the data that's on your PC. But now you want to have an app that, an example is a kind of a banking app. The guy at the door wants to have a banking app that knows you when you come in, knows kind of what your latest purchase has been, when you have been there last, where your car is, and kind of connect a whole bunch of services together. And that's why kind of these new low-code platforms, I think, or that's the vision that we have, is that they are kind of at such a high speed because it allows us now to connect all these different systems together. So kind of the bottom line on this low-code services is that what we're seeing is that package applications that do a job for you the best will be kind of the way that you're going to fix those jobs. I mean, think about this slide has Dynamics on it, but it could be SAP, could be Oracle, could be kind of any other software application that solves your business problem best. Could be Adobe, could be anyone. But you won't have one, you'll have multiple, because you have one for CRM, you have one for kind of how your manufacturing is done, you have one for your products, you have one for your customer service, etc. So neither of all these kind of big monolithic systems is exactly what you need. So you'll need something to combine these solutions and make these insights come together. So I want to have the insight from the CRM system and the weather system, or I want to have kind of your recent purchases and the other thing. And yes, it's here. And also kind of solutions like Betty Blocks and low-code, no-code platforms allow you to create these last-mile solutions. So they allow you to kind of put that together and put it in the hands of the kind of citizen developer, where kind of the person that knows the business problem best can kind of bring it together. And I think a good example of that is the story of Samit. Samit was or is a security employee at Heathrow Airport, and being a security officer, he's always in the kind of the main hall where people are coming together, and kind of he sees the type of problems that they run into, and he said, well, it would be great if I could have a solution that pulls into the kind of the data from the traffic system and I don't know. So he started to create applications to be used on his mobile phone in the Heathrow departure hall, so that he could help customers quicker. And because he knew kind of the type of questions that he was getting, he was able to do that really quickly. And he built 1, and he built 2, he built 5, and then he started to explain to his other his colleagues in the security, but also in the hospitality space, how to build these applications. And this really allows him to pull together kind of the insights that the entire airport management system has, and bring it to the frontline worker and the customer. So what next? So what we are seeing is that kind of the current wave or the next wave, depending on kind of where you are on your surfboard, is AI. And AI is, of course, the thing that we're all talking about. Computers kind of predicting all sorts of things, and knowing where you are, and kind of knowing what next purchase you're going to do. But AI is really hard. So creating an AI solution requires you to gather kind of big buckets of data, train models, do kind of super advanced mathematics, etc. And what we want to do is we want to put these AI models into the hands of the citizen developer, so that you can enhance your citizen developer application with an AI solution. So for that we've built kind of five big kind of service categories that allow you to pull that into your solution without doing all the hard work, so that you can kind of build on the hard work that the data scientist did, and basically you can just kind of make an API call from your low-code application, send your picture, and then have a prediction out of that, or kind of have something recognized out of that, or have something there. So we've got kind of 5 big things. So we're doing something around vision. So that is the picture of the so we have a colleague, I'm not sure if he's in the room, but he makes a picture of his backyard to see if his kid left her bike in the backyard instead of putting it in the shed. But kind of all type of solutions. There is a Carglass has created a low-code solution that allows the operator to make a picture of the kind of the damage, and then makes a prediction what's going to cost and if it can be fixed there or not. So kind of to satisfy speech. Well, you can imagine speech. So kind of having a conversation with a system, and you can't have speech without language. So after you interpret it, what was written there, you need to kind of interpret what it means. So that's the language APIs. And we've got a lot more. And I think a beautiful way that kind of shows how that is all brought together is by I keep forgetting the guy's name. I think it's Saqib. Saqib is an engineer working for us, and he built a solution for himself because he's visually impaired, and he didn't have to write any of the AI that you'll see in the next video.
I'm Saqib Sheikh. I lost my sight when I was 7, and shortly after that, I went to a school for the blind. And that's where I was introduced to talking computers, and that really opened up a whole new world of opportunities. I joined Microsoft 10 years ago as a software engineer. I love making things which improve people's lives. And one of the things I've always dreamt of since I was at university was this idea of something that could tell you at any moment what's going on around you.
I think it's a man jumping in the air doing a trick on a skateboard.
I teamed up with like-minded engineers to make an app which lets you know who and what is around you. It's based on top of the Microsoft Intelligence APIs, which makes it so much easier to make this kind of thing. The app runs on smartphones, but also on the Pivot Head smart glasses. When you're talking to a bigger group, sometimes you can talk and there's no response, and you think, is everyone listening really well, or are they half asleep? And you never know.
I see two faces. 40-year-old man with a beard looking surprised. 20-year-old woman looking happy.
The app can describe the general age and gender of the people around me and what their emotions are, which is incredible. One of the things that's most useful about the app is the ability to read out text.
Hello, good afternoon. Here's your menu.
Great, thank you. I can use the app on my phone to take a picture of the menu, and it's going to guide me on how to take that correct photo.
Move camera to the bottom right and away from the document.
And then it'll recognize the text. Read me the headings.
I see appetizers, salads, paninis, pizzas, pastas.
Years ago, this was science fiction. I never thought it would be something that you could actually do. But artificial intelligence is improving at an ever faster rate. And I'm really excited to see where we can take this. As engineers, we're always standing on the shoulders of giants, building on top of what went before. And in this case, we've taken years of research from Microsoft Research to pull this off.
I think it's a young girl throwing an orange frisbee in the park.
For me, it's about taking that far-off dream and building it one step at a time. I think this is just the beginning.
So that's where we think that we can go with this. I mean, putting more and more capabilities in the hands of citizen developers or kind of end users. That was my presentation. Thank you very much. Any questions? I know already there's one question, so shall I answer that? Take that first. So the sir here in the middle asked the question if I could tell a little bit about the Microsoft BettyBlocks partnership. Well, we've been working with BettyBlocks for little under a year to help them to modernize the way that they're hosting their BettyBlocks platform. So people in my team have been working with the engineers of BettyBlocks to land the BettyBlocks platform on Azure, and that's kind of the main thing. So we are helping them to accelerate their innovation, not on the low code, but on the high code phase. Any other questions? No.
Well, for me, the big question is, are you trying this yourself, these kind of languages?
Yes, we do. So there is Microsoft has a low-code platform in what we call Power Apps, which has a little bit of a different take on kind of the low-code, where it's very much kind of an extension of Dynamics and the Office 365 suite, kind of allowing you to pull in kind of insights from those together. So we've got our own platform there as well.
Thanks.
Over here. Ooh, that's...
Throw it in.
No worries. Oops.
I just talk into it? Okay. So my question is, what do you think is the biggest roadblock keeping people from implementing new technologies, not just in enterprises, but just the world as a whole? You know, what are the steps?
That's a good question. And to be honest, I've got a bit of a cold, so I'm a little bit. That only little stairs to take my breath away. But what's blocking us to adopt new technologies? I think that there is 3 kind of reasons why we're not adopting new technologies at the moment. What we're seeing is that a lot of companies have a lot of old stuff that they need to get out of the way. That's still kind of stopping them from going faster than they would want to. I mean, we're seeing kind of big monolithic client-server applications that need to be redesigned and basically rewritten to take the advantages of kind of an API or a service-oriented world where you can pull in these kind of cognitive services. That's one thing. Maybe there's only 2 things. Another thing, so I really think that at the moment we can build anything we can think of. And kind of the lack of inspiration or courage is a big reason why we're not going faster, because people are saying, well, are we able to do this? And every time that I have heard that question over the last 2 years while working with software companies, every time the answer was yes, we can, and we can do even kind of 2 or 3 times more, but kind of being blocked by, well, your old code or your old paradigms that are not helping you. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
So, who's next?
Have some courage, guys.
I don't bite. No, well, no. Then I thank you very much for your attention, and I wish you a great Betty Blocks on stage for the rest of the day.